Please welcome our first storyteller, Suzanne Forbes. Is that okay?
That's good. I think so.
Beautiful.
Hello, babies. So nice to see you all again. Actually, I can't see shit. Dixie's totally right. You can't see anybody's face. I just met Dan Savage upstairs, and he's kind of built and hot, which I never got from like the photos on the back of his books, and is kind of an awkward feeling to have about someone who's a personal hero and also a lover of men. But what are you going to do? So I was having strap-on sex in a coffin with a hot girl, half my age. On a street in Soma, in front of a crowd of people, when the direction of my life completely changed, and the great adventures of my middle age actually began. So let me tell you how we got there. The Great Recession and the real estate crash was very hard for me, like a lot of artists, and I lost my second marriage, and there was a bitterly contested divorce. I was forced to sell my adorable Craftsman house in North Berkeley at a huge loss, which was very sad. And then my best commercial illustration client lost his job and couldn't pay me anymore. So I had no income, and I had to give up my little apartment, and so I had no place to live. But luckily, community and perverts came to the rescue, as they do around here, and some friends of mine, Justin and Barbara, gave me a place to live, a room in the basement of their West Oakland house. And I got a job working for some people I had met at this kinky coffee shop that was about to open in Soma. So I was part of the Wicked Grounds opening crew. And those were some very hot and wild times. I was 41 and I hadn't expected to be a barista again, and I hadn't expected to do it for $10 an hour, but I also hadn't expected to do it with a bunch of porn stars and really hot young guys, and everybody there was sexy, and everybody there was a stone freak, and they were ready to get it. So it was a lively situation. And I was having adventures because Anais Nin said that your life expands or contracts directly in proportion to your courage. And I have never had thin thighs or good credit, but I have always had buckets of courage. So I said, hey, sexual adventures are generally free, at least to start with. So I was having a lot of fun at this coffee shop, and one day I looked up from the counter, and there was this boy. Central Casting had sent a call out for the Suzanne Forbes archetype boy. Tall, very thin, rangy shoulders, slim hips, long legs, long dark hair, blue Irish eyes. This guy had the whole Strider thing going on that has gotten me since I was a little girl. And I was like, hi. And he was like, hi. And we'll call him D, is what we're going to call him. So I liked him, and it was quickly established that he was a smart and kind guy. But I had a lot of 20-somethings on my plate. It was during this period that I was given the title by Jared, the DNA bartender, of Velocicougar. My God, it can open a door! And so I was busy, and I had to waitlist this guy. And that was fine, because I got to know him a little bit on Twitter, around town, sex parties, stuff like that. And it was a good thing. You know, we started to see each other as people. And And I had some more adventures, and that was all good. And the year moved on. My life kind of pulled back together. I got health insurance again. You know, things got better. And we were coming up to Burning Man, and Dee went away to Burning Man. And I was like, all right, I'm not going to see him for a while. I got some other things to deal with. I'll go have sex outside the cat club in my car with this bouncer who's half my age, whatever. And then he comes back from Burning Man, and I hear that this terrible, depraved Austrian performance artist named Johannes is throwing a performance event at this thing called Ars Electronica. It's called 6 Feet Under, and he has people have sex in a coffin. And I'm like, oh my God, I want to have sex in the coffin. So I tweeted or replied or something to Dee, and I was like, hey, are you interested? And he's like, hey, are you interested? And we're like, all right, we're gonna have the coffin sex. So we get together and we do a little warm-up. And we spend a night together fooling around. And this is like a week before the event, and that was great. And then crickets. We're supposed to be planning for this coffin sex. And also, I gave him a blowjob. And when a woman of my age and experience gives you a blowjob, and she expects you to call her, I think you're going to be calling her. So whatever. I'm like, fuck this guy. I'm going to jump out of a plane. Because the wonderful people who are putting me up, Justin and Barbara, Justin had decided he's a Zeppelin nut, but you can't jump out of a Zeppelin, so he wanted to jump out of a plane. And he graciously gifted his partner, Barbara and I, with this jumping out of a plane. So the weekend comes up, coffin sex weekend, and Justin and Barbara and I get up on Saturday morning, and we jump out of the plane, and it's awesome. I've always wanted to do it. It's everything that I imagined. It's such a great time. And then I go home and I take a disco nap because I am an older person. It's good. Then I drive into the city, and I'm like, I'm gonna find me somebody to have coffin sex with. Jesus. So I go to Noisebridge, and I pick up a bunch of the Waitlist boys, and we drive down to Soma, where the thing is happening, and the coffin is in a dumpster full of dirt. Where do you even get a dumpster that's empty and enough dirt to fill a dumpster? I don't know. But the coffin is in a dumpster full of dirt, and the sex acts within it are being live streamed onto the wall of the street in Soma. And I get there, I pull up in my car, and we all get out. It's like a cougar clown car. And this boy, you guys are so nice. This boy, who, has been of no use to me so far, is there. He's standing on top of the dumpster, like helping, because he's a helpful organizer kind of guy. And he's all, hey, and I'm like, no. And so he looked at me, and he got very still. He dropped everything he was doing, and everything around us sort of fell away, even though this was a crowded and noisy street in Soma. And this 27-year-old boy looked at me, and he said, did I upset you? Tell me what I did wrong. I didn't mean to upset you, and I want to know how to fix it. And I said, okay, well, I can work with this, but I'm certainly not having coffin sex with him yet. So all the boys that I brought with me are too skittish. But I look around, and I see this beautiful girl that I know, Angie, who's here in the audience. And I see you know her. And I'm like, hey. And she's like, hey. So I run back over to my car, and I get a dildo out of the trunk, and we borrow a harness, and I'm a little nervous because I haven't had sex with a girl in like 20 years. But we start making out on the street, and she is the best kisser. And she is so soft, and it's beautiful. And so we get in the coffin, we have sex, and it's like little animals in a burrow. It's like dark and enclosed, and it's really intimate. And the fact that all these people outside are like watching and cheering, and she is so soft. And it's like really a lovely, intimate community experience. It was really great. So then we got out, And I kissed her goodbye, and Dee and one of the waitlist boys, Hugh, and I went back over to Noisebridge, and we went into the DJ booth, which had an open door, and there was a huge party going on, but we didn't worry about that. And there was also a girl friend of Dee's sleeping in there. She had food poisoning from a taco truck, I don't know. Anyway, so we had this really hot threesome, and this, when I was young, when I was a teenager, my favorite thing in the world was a threesome with two tall, thin guys with big dicks. Like, that was my thing. Boy, boy, girl threesome. So this was like a wonderful revisiting, you know, and it's like all these people are out in Noisebridge yelling, and, you know, it's like Hugh is like face fucking me with his big cock. It's just, and he was really good at breath play, and it was awesome. But eventually one of our friends came to the door hours later, and he was like, "You're still going?" And we were like, "Sorry." So we went to Dee's bedroom, which was there in the Mission. In the morning, we all got up, and we had brunch at that hipster place in the Mission, you know that place. And then Dee and I spent the rest of the day together. And we were just sort of napping. We went to Bayreuth. We had ice cream. We hung around. We were just sort of resting. And at one point, he said to me, "So what kind of a relationship are you looking for? I want to understand your expectations." And I was like, you know, well, basically, I have like fucking horrible divorce PTSD, and the last thing I want to do is have a serious relationship, and, you know, I just want to like fuck randoms, and I don't even care, and I'm totally traumatized. What? And he was like, "Well, I want to support what you need, and I want to be there for what you need, and we can work on this." So the end of the story, he's here in the audience. We're getting married in November. And we're moving to Berlin, so this will be my last Bawdy. But I love you guys.
Suzanne Forbes!